Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. You're down in Tucson, Arizona, my home, and also home to a really beautiful person, a guy who tries to remain as vulnerable as possible in somatic therapy, in acting, and in music. Bradford, Trojan, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, so I just saw you a few weeks ago. We reconnected, and you were talking about this venture in acting.
Yeah.
So before we get into specifics, I just wanted you to talk about how much right brain usage there is in your acting at this point. You know,
yeah.
Can you talk a little? Because I mean, you were very eloquent about left brain activity in society. How it's really a strong muscle.
Yeah.
We tend to let the other stuff kind of atrophy.
Yeah.
But I feel like me and you work that right side of the brain. I wanted you to talk about it specifically as it relates to acting.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that acting is from my limited knowledge, because I'm not by any means a master thespian or, you know, have been like years of training. I've had a lot of training. However, like I think that the right brain, what really we can tap into is the like bodily memories of a character, you know, and like with emotion, you know. So Stanislavski does this really well, where you're really looking for this like psychophysiological approach to your character and whatever that is that's coming through. I think it also has to do a lot with relaxing. So if anything, just like I was listening to an interview sometime recently with Jack Nicholson, and he's just like, relax, just relax.
Easy for him to say that.
I know, sounds like he's melting all the time. And and he's just like, yeah, but I'm like, yeah. Gosh, so, you know, relaxation, you know, letting yourself chill.
Do you think that like part of you've had a lot of training in this, but to me, like, there's a natural essence to the idea of being able to, I don't want to, you know, in music, you call them chameleons, where they can, you know, do a funk date, and then they can go and do a bluegrass date, and then the Dukes of Hazzard, but they can slip into all different roles.
Yeah.
And I feel like in acting, like, you want to get into a certain headspace, but do you feel like too much training is almost it can kind of set you back a little bit? I mean, at a certain point, just let your own true nature take over. And I wonder where you're at that point in terms of like, even no matter how big or small the role. I just feel like the overtraining, there's only so much you can do in the academy, so to speak. And I just wonder how much you are recognizing about your own abilities to be able to be a chameleon.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good one. Yeah, I think that doing training really helps, like whatever that is, but almost more just you want that experiential practice. You want to be just practicing. You want to be watching people. You want to be just like looking at mannerisms. You want to be seeing what is our humanity and you know, looking at real characters and just, you know, what are they doing? What are they, you know, just curiosity around it, you know? I think the more curiosity you have, and it's not as much about like how much technique and, you know, that's more of, I think, where the left brain can kind of stumble us up. Like we need that.
That's right.
You kind of like, right, jazz, you need that training. You need to know how to play, and then eventually you can just be free and move and do this stuff that's just very much tuning into the greater picture, whatever that is, you know, or watching somebody and just trying to get into that character, bringing a memory out that you have that relates to maybe a character you're working with, even if it's like, you know, the character's some horrific thing you would never do in your whole life. There's something that you can relate to in your life that was rough. Maybe, you know, this was really hard.
You give an example in your own currently with a. I mean, you were throwing the Serpico gear on the other day.
Yeah.
But when you talk about memory, you're talking about personal memory. Is there an example you can give?
I think about, I don't know. I think like if there's if you have a character that you're working with and they're just really maybe they're rageful, maybe they hurt other people, you know. Well, I don't I don't do that, you know. I don't hit people physically. Where have I in my life gotten really angry, you know? Like, can I just think about that? Can I remember that? Or maybe there is something that makes me angry politically or, you know, globally, that I can think about that memory or the feeling, and then where does that feeling land in my body, and how is that going to then translate as the character's postures or movements or like tension, you know? I said relax, but
I was going to say, it's really hard if you're playing a rageful character to do that in a relaxed fashion.
but you might not relax. It's
That's
just
right.
like there could be a relaxation. I mean, this is where I think it's interesting, the kind of polarities of you are relaxed and you're creating tension by bringing a character forward that might be just really high strung, and you know.
Well, no, it's similar to improvisational music, because
Yeah.
when you play really free, especially if you're in the rhythm section, bass and drums, you can create tension, you know, sort of a tension release. I mean, that's
Yeah.
ultimately the key to, in my mind, great music, is having dynamics and that tension and release. Are you able, in your own little, you know, the parts that you're playing, are you able to throw the script away? Not totally, but I mean, like, add little parts, be a little more creative. I mean, I guess, you know, how much creative control do you have once you sort of get the psyche of your character inside of you?
Yeah.
How much creative control do you have, assuming that you're playing a significant role or even a smaller role?
Well, there's a feature that I did about a year ago. It's a rom-com. It's going to be coming out at some point in the next.
What's a rom-com?
Romantic comedy.
Don't go short on me on that. Romantic comedy. I gotta see that immediately.
Rom-com. So the rom-com, but it's called A Tuesday Wedding, and it's a feature length. And I play a character who's kind of the older brother who teases his sisters, his younger sisters.
Sure.
And one of them's getting married, and he's just like, you know, and so I can relate to that character. I can tease. I know I tease people. I'm a jokester. I'm a prankster.
Prankster, dude. That's
I'm a
why I
prankster.
love you so much.
Got that
Dude.
coyote energy.
Keezy,
you know?
dude. Keezy lives.
Total. And,
Holy cow.
And so then, you know, it's like, I had the script. I knew it. I got the lines, you know. Okay, good. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying. I know the scene. I know where it's going. I know the meters, you know.
Right.
I know what's happening. And then, can I just freeform and improv if needed, you know, or just let it rip after, you know, we finish the scene and there's just more space that's like to get filled up. So I got to do that, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if the director, he was liking it, and then we'll see if it makes it inside the actual movie. You know, but like, you know, during the pandemic, there was a lot of things got shut down. So I was kind of like, what am I going to do?
Sure.
There's not much acting, and I started to do some training. You know, it's like there's online. Right before the pandemic hit, 2 weeks before everything shut down, I went out, and this was February 2020. I was in LA. I went out for 4 or 5 days. I had a film that was at a festival that I was in, and I was like, went to a class, went to see some improv, see friends, just like networking people. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna not move there, but I'm gonna start to try to like make the rounds.
Yeah, right on, dude.
I
dig.
And do it. And it was like, I can do it. And then 2 weeks later,
Shot.
done. I was like, there's my answer. Now, before going to LA, anything you want to do as far as like, you know, commercial work, acting work, you have to be there in person at the class. You got to be at the improv. You got to be, you know. So this kind of blessing that happened was, now all these things that were never online got to pop out and zoomed. You know, we got Zoomers, baby Zoomers.
So you really, the momentum didn't, I mean, the networking part of it might have been difficult.
And they called it baby Zoom? Baby Zoomers?
Yeah, baby Zoomers,
like
dude.
The kids that are born during
Totally.
pandemic, baby Zoomers.
Oh my God. I mean, so talk about, how did you cultivate your...
So I got to do a full Upright Citizens Brigade training online, but it worked. It was fine. I got to do a great studio in LA with an acting teacher, John Rosenfeld. Really cool, awesome, and commercial course, you know, just like commercial auditioning and commercial acting, which is kind of a specific thing. And and yeah, just kind of doing that. So it was interesting that like the point of that was that improv, even within improv, if people are familiar with this, you do the Herald, the long form, that there's still structure within the improv. So like doing the course of the improv, now you watch stuff like Key and Peele, Saturday Night Live, you're like, there it is. They're doing this thing. It's so specific, and it's a formula. And within that, then you can still improv, but there's the thing there. There's a structure.
I love this. Is so much related to vibration and music and themes. How comfortable? So, I mean, a lot of that was done online.
Yeah.
Talk a little. I mean, a lot of people. I say to this day, even masters, you still get butterflies before you go perform live on stage on the bandstand. All right.
Yeah.
And some people just truly have phobia about it, and they still push through it every night, but they're not comfortable.
Yeah.
When that thing clicks down, action. How comfortable are you on the bandstand of the movie set at this point?
Yeah, it's so the other night.
Or do you thrive there, maybe?
I thrive there, and yet I was
Yes.
like the other night. It's been a while since I was on set filming, and I got nervous. I was like, oh man, wow.
Like blanked out, kind of like lost the.
I didn't lose it. No, I didn't lose it.
I would have totally been like, oh my god, I got to remember my line, dude.
Luckily, I did not lose it. However, you have this was the most recent project. It's not a multi-million-dollar, but it's a bigger budget indie and bigger budget, yeah. And so there's a lot at stake. There's like a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of equipment. There's time, and so you have to do it. You got to do it right. And the pressure in that way is on because time is money, and there's people there working and doing this. So you want to just do it. You want to do it really well. You want to give a good performance, and the camera acting is different than live. You have a little thing to work with. You have to be more nuanced. You got to really kind of get it, and depending on how long even the take is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by it. I love it. I'm just, wow, this is such an interesting art form. I love film. I love TV, commercials. Just watching the process and seeing it from that kind of lens.
What do you feel is like your? I don't mind you. You can brag a little bit if you want, but like to me, like even people like us who, we have some anxiety and nerves and even but when we're in that moment, when the light is on, I feel like there's a resolute sort of quality, and I just wonder how much of it comes from your own work in biodynamic cranial sacral therapy. How much of that has lent itself to you being, I want to say, completely focused and also completely still when that light goes on. Not in front of a studio audience, but I mean, like when you.
That'd be another story. I haven't done that.
I'm waiting for that. Like, I'm gonna be like out of control in the front row, dude.
Oh my god, a studio audience one.
Bring the harmonica. Do some just anyway. But truthfully, do you feel like not just the work as a facilitator, but even the work you had when you first got into it and it helped you so much?
Yeah.
Does it allow you to create stillness on the movie bandstand, so to speak?
Yeah. So I don't know if I said this in our last time we met. It's it definitely has. And for me, I really wanted to do this work. Like when I was getting into music in my teens, and then like kind of moving into this like performing, which I loved, and then there was acting that was coming up with in my early 20s, and I just mentally couldn't navigate that world. It's like brutal, the business is brutal, and it's like really intense,
cutthroat.
It's cutthroat. So if you're I'm kind of a sensitive guy, and trying to navigate those waters, and doing that, wanting to do it was difficult at that time. So I kind of just had to like leave it. When I finally came back around to it, about really, I mean, I was always in it, a little bit here and there. But when I was like, I really want to get like an agent, and I do this again, and this thing, and probably like 8 years ago, it was like, I can do this, and it's directly correlated to the work I've done for myself with cranial sacral therapy, the somatic experiencing, which is a trauma work. It's also just you could say, as a nervous system health and regulation and wellness modalities. So, going and doing that for myself, that just helps to kind of like alleviate and relieve some of these dysregulated nervous system responses that made it a little easier to navigate this like tumultuous business and go in and just be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna feel that anxiety, I'm gonna feel it, and it can come down, whereas before it would not come down, right? It was like, that's a dysregulation. It's like, I'm up, and then I'd finally panic attack, crash, boom, so it's like, yeah, it's going up and then it can come down, and go up and it can come down. And by doing that with like the auditions over the years, not hearing things, rejection, it's such a weird thing where you're like, I'm going to keep doing this thing that I love doing, but now I don't hear anything. I'm spending all this time, and it's bonkers. It's crazy. I just did an audition a few days ago for another feature, and it's like I had to really get into this like whole Cockney accent character.
Right.
I'm not great with some of the dialects, but like really get into it, study it, get in, do it for an audition. That's like, am I even going to get a call back? It's wild. It's just a wild thing, but for the love of the game, you love it.
Absolutely. Well, no, but there's a calling for it too. I mean,
yeah.
And in some ways, it's almost like, well, you're still only part way up the mountain. I mean, in some ways, you want to keep ascending, and it has nothing to do with status or hierarchy or anything like that. It's just sort of like, to me, there's a legacy component to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's being able to look back and say, I just know with all 2,000 interviews, I can look back on certain ones now, quite a few, and say that is the official documentation of that person. There's no, and it was done so well, and it was done in such a Taoist way where I was really not controlling anything. It was just flowing through me, and and so it's like art. It's like the creation, and I guess, do you feel like in your own world, does acting and music, does it have cumulative results? Meaning, like, the stuff you're doing now may not necessarily completely resonate now, but down the road it could have a lot unquantifiable resonance.
Yeah, I think it's true. I think it's like, you just keep going. You just keep moving forward. I slough off the stuff that's like, all right, didn't get that, never heard that. Oh, I got this. Cool. I love it. Did it. Now we keep moving and just keep going and trying to learn more, trying to investigate and be curious about myself and what I want to do and what's showing up and what's happening, and I think that's really all there is, and that's cool. That's part of the whole journey. It's just loving the process of like, I loved it.
But that's not the way our society tells us it should be.
No.
The dog, and we're not into the dog move, but I'm just saying it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I'm not always getting there. I mean, I can like, sometimes tune into this, but when I am doing like an audition right now, just because this is happening a lot more recently, it's like, okay, cool. I'll go in and why am I doing this? Oh, because I really actually like doing this. I like to act. I like to like be in a character. I like to get into this zone with it, and it's fun.
Absolutely.
So it's fun. Can we keep it fun? Because when there is monetary things at stake, you just have to kind of just like, I had a teacher that would just tell me like, don't go in hungry. You have I have another world that's like, it's okay. I'm going to be all right. Monetarily, it's like, that's fine. And it's good enough. And this other thing, do it because you love it.
Right.
And if something happens, sure, you get paid for the thing, and it's like, so you drop out that part, and then it can be this more pure form of just like, why did we do music growing up? Why did I get into music growing up? Because I loved it. I loved the sound. I loved playing. I loved the feeling of it. It was the performance, whatever that is that people have that like really want to do that, and then it gets jumbled and all this other stuff. Like, but kids do this. Kids play. My kiddo plays. She just is playing. She's not thinking about all this other stuff, and that's really it. Like, just to play. All this is like, whatever it is, the music, the acting for me, music, acting, even the work I do with like my clients. It's like, how much can I just be curious and stay playing? And that's that I think that's all that matters. That's it.
So I'm rooting for you to be totally go viral as an actor.
I don't want it. Here's the
No,
thing.
I want to ask this question, and then you can riff any way you want. You know what it is? Because February 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, you were going in the deep end. You weren't going full throttle. You could still stay in Tucson. But is there a really fertile acting scene here enough that if you got some momentum that you could still be content? All I'm saying is, again, we're talking about stuff that we just basically, I don't want to contradict myself because it's not about fame and fortune. That stuff to me is, well, I've never felt it, but I know people that consider it to be very overrated. Is there enough for tangible acting work for you to continue to be at peace in Tucson?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say is with that is the acting. Like I do. There is a draw towards the celebrity world, fame. I love that.
Oh,
that
man.
Stuff is like, to me,
Harrison Ford. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like there's just something like Tom Cruise. I know that's going to bring up.
Yeah, it's all right.
But I love Tom.
Dude,
Cruise.
he's a great actor. You know.
The thing with Tom Cruise, and this is just great because the people that
Go ahead.
know me know how much I love Tom Cruise.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Tom Cruise, the actor, let's leave his other stuff
Absolutely.
out of it, but Tom Cruise, the energetics of what Tom Cruise is bringing as far as his love of the game, his passion for the work, and how motivated and driven he is after all this time, he loves it. And that, like, if I had as much as the intensity and like
Gumption,
love and passion,
gumption, yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, there's the fame. There's like, oh yeah, fame. I'm in the lights. I want being seen and known. I've gotten to a place where that's trickled away more into like, what I'd like is if somebody saw me and be like, it kind of looks familiar. I think I've seen him.
Yes.
And that's it. Just a character actor. Like those character actors. Like I guess Sam Rockwell's kind of like bigger now, but as a character actor, or Harry Dean Stanton, or some of these guys that were just like, yeah, they just did this thing, and like that's fine because it's like, and then coming to this question of like working, and whatever, if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But like that's kind of where it's at.
I
now.
love it.
Like,
I love that.
I don't want to have my life taken over. I wouldn't want that. Like I think there's a curse to that of like this.
You can't walk out of your house and without people mobbing you. Yeah,
you can't do anything. But to have this other kind of success, at least in that way of like, yeah, I'm a full-time working actor, I'm a character actor doing this thing, that seems cool. Can it happen to Tucson? I don't think it can really happen now here. This is like big fish, small pond.
Totally.
However, we're doing this right now. It's mid-March, and 2023, they just passed the Arizona Film Incentive Tax. We've been waiting for this for like as actors and the film people in the community for decades.
So it's going to bring more business. Yeah.
So right now, like most things that people watch are being filmed in New Mexico and Georgia. Okay, they have huge tax incentives. LA, of course, it's always happening. Chicago's been kind of steady for a long time in New York.
Sure.
But like Arizona's just been like, oh, just hopping over Arizona to get to New Mexico. So they finally passed this thing in this past fall. It was supposed to kick in this September, and it just got bumped to happening like next week. So by next week, who knows what's going to happen? There could be more going on, and at that point, it's like more opportunities, just more things of like.
I love it.
Here's a character actor thing that comes in. We're gonna have to do supporting roles. We're gonna have to do this or that. More people that get to do like extra work, stuff like that. I think that's.
I love it. To me, it's like as you develop more and more opportunities and jobs, like it's going to be the slowest rolling snowball in the history of it's just going to, but it's going to be like, because like even the Jake Feinberg show, people will run into other cats concerts and be like, they're like, Jake Feinberg, and they're like, so it's like the ripple effect, and that's the way it is,
Yeah. Which is great.
Well, and ultimately it's perseverance, and staying at it, but
just keep doing it. You just
absolutely,
keep going
and that's
forward.
Ultimately like, well, but before we wrap, because we've been cooking already here 25 minutes. You know, I was saddened to hear about the fact that you have been dealing with tinnitus. I believe that's how you put it. In one of your ears.
Yeah.
Al Di Meola, my fifth book's about to come out, and he talks a lot about the anguish.
Yeah.
Because he's had it. He has it. He has it
Yeah.
he lives with it every day.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, not so much about living with it, how do you continue to play music when you're dealing with that?
I don't much. I don't.
That's
play much
see,
music,
that makes me upset.
which is sad. I'm upset too. I'm mad too. So, first of all, if anybody has tinnitus out there who sees this and wants to any kind of guideposts or like kind of a little bit of a crash course and like some good resources, reach out to me, please, because I feel like I've done a lot of work around it and have kind of gotten to more of an accepting place. And that's really important with having tinnitus. Unfortunately, I only have it. I say go to the source here.
Go to the wood, baby.
I learned that you're supposed to say it. You're supposed to say whatever you're saying while you knock on wood.
Dude, I'm so out of
so
loop.
the devil doesn't hear. That's what you're supposed to do.
It's a whole new level right there, dude.
Trick. You don't say, "Oh, I hope I don't get that." Knock on wood. You got to be knocking on wood.
I have to be knocking
while you're
and
saying
preaching.
it.
Holy cow.
So
you only have it in one ear.
I just have it in one ear, so it's unilateral. And but it's constant. It's a constant high-pitched frequency. Maybe it's the sound of God and the sphere, music of the spheres that I'm, but it's constant. Probably, from some overexposure, playing, recording. Also, just like my constitution, I think people can get more prone to it than others. And structurally, there's all kinds of factors that play with it, and there's definitely ways to get used to it, to habituate to it, to make it it's not going to be the thing that's just ruined your life. And so with music, what do I do now? I also have another friend he's further down the road. He's had this for a while.
Right.
He's a musician in town, and he's playing loud music. He's back. He's doing it. But he got knocked out for a while. He just was this was really tough for him. He couldn't accept it, and it was probably some years. And he's back and doing his thing.
I want to be clear, accepting in the sense because it's with you all day, every day.
Yeah.
So it can be debilitating and very fatiguing.
Yeah.
But when you're playing,
yeah,
and you find that zone where you can be in the moment.
Yeah.
Do you find that you can still, even though you don't play a lot,
right,
you can still find peace within that?
Yes. So,
because that's the key. Because Di Meola didn't stop playing, and it's screaming in his ears. I got to send you the quote. It's.
I know.
So to me, it's I guess the thing.
There's people that have way worse.
But what was in your mind? What is? I want you to tell people, for you, how did you come closer to acceptance? You may never fully embrace tinnitus. I don't know who would embrace it.
Yeah.
But we're talking about. I don't want to say surrendering, but accepting. Was there something definitive, or there was something you can point to just say, I just recognize that it is sonically coming from the heavens, or
there's things I think about just you help tell yourself the kind of new languaging of this isn't going to kill me. This is just it's a response to this thing. It's it's not going to hurt me. Some of those things that you could do more of a cognitive behavioral therapy approach that works really well with tinnitus. Things where it's you're making sure that you're sleeping well. You have white noise maskers or sound maskers. You are protecting your ears. If you are going out to things that are louder, you're gonna make sure that you're taking care of your stress. You're eating well. All those things, factors that do play into just helping things to chill. And you'll know there's ways where you're I didn't sleep good, I haven't slept well for a while, or I'm way stressed out, and the noise goes up. It's you have these spikes. So those things ebb and flow, they come and go. And there's it's wild how many people have it and how little research I should say, or cures. There's no cures.
Well, that's the issue. There's a lot of research, but there's been no.
But there's a lot of promising things that are out there. We're kind of in a place right now that I think there will be some things that will potentially be make it way less, you know. But there already is too. That's the good news. There's already stuff.
Homeopathic stuff or stuff you would have to take medication wise?
Well, no, I'm just saying about the habituating, this cognitive behavioral therapy, sleep maskers. If it's really intense, people that have this do hearing aids, and it blocks out the sound, so it, like, you know.
Oh.
So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things out there. Then there's things that people use that I can't speak of, but, you know, it works for them. They're like doing an anti-inflammatory diet, or turmeric works, or medicinal mushrooms, or psychedelic mushrooms, you know, all these things that, like, people have found really helpful, and it's diminished the sound. But there's really instances, you know, cases with like intense screaming, roaring, all that stuff. I luckily don't have that, but like, I'm not going out to loud concerts anymore. I'm not, and is it bother me? It's okay. It's all right. I went out to see my buddy Haji Banjovi, local musician, fantastic.
God, I haven't seen him in a while.
Country musician,
Insane,
performer.
insane dude.
And our buddy Will Duncan was here visiting. He's like, let's go see Haji. This was a couple months ago. He was at this the Crystal, the El Exo. I'm trying to give some good plugs here.
Yeah.
The new place there, beautiful spot. And it was like, I don't know, man. I don't really want to go out for like little music. And I went. It was quiet. It was acoustic, PA, acoustic sounds, some accordion, and it was fine. You know, it was fine. But I'm not going to.
Well, you did like Steve Roach, not.
Right, and you asked me like, let's go Steve Roach. I'm like, I don't think I can. I don't think. I just, it's probably too loud unless we're outside.
Right.
Unless it's like, you know.
I know that the only thing I do know is that it will benefit you and keep you grounded if you can go and keep that vibration inside of you. I think, I mean,
Yes.
regardless of whether you play
Yes.
or whether you go and patronize stuff, and I'm not talking about just going to see it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Put some earplugs in, or put some,
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm saying is it's the only thing
Yeah.
that is truly healing me these days
Yeah.
is vibration.
Yeah.
And it all stems from
Yeah.
that. And so that, I can honestly say, man, like,
Yeah.
I have, my gut feeling is that you're going to be a recognizable character actor very soon. Not, and I really, I always just love just getting to this level of space and contentment with you. It's fleeting for me. We're all just sort of on the mountains of madness.
Yeah.
And I just, man, I applaud everything you're doing, and I'm just so grateful that you showed up at Friends of the Library, and
Thanks, Jake.
we got a chance to reconnect, and
Yeah.
we'll do this. I mean, who knows? You might be up in Grand Canyon doing work pretty soon with all the tax incentives that are here now in the state.
Flying off in a squirrel suit in the Grand Canyon.
Well, I'm going to be here to
Terror
document.
tracks.
I'm going to be here to document it all. Bradford Trojan,
Dude.
thank you, my brother.
Thanks, Jake.
It's the Jake Feinberg Show. We'll see you later.